This is the Giants Postcast, your instant game reaction for the San Francisco Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E. Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, or maybe from some of these other Locked On Sports postcasts we do. And today, the Giants got it done in Pittsburgh. They take the series from the Pirates, and they have now won back-to-back series after winning over the weekend against the Mets. Robbie Ray was pretty good in this one. 6 innings, struck out 8, only gave up 2 runs. I keep waiting for him to fall off a cliff in the second half, and he just keeps on rolling, which is a very good sign for the Giants. And offensively, the late game heroics in this one, it was a little bit of a throwback to the beginning of the season when the Giants would never say die and were in every single game all the way up until the end. And Dom Smith, Jung-Hoo Lee, Pat Bailey all come up with huge hits in the 9th inning to give the Giants the lead. And Randy Rodriguez comes in and slams the door. No problems at all in that 9th inning. 1, 2, 3 for Randy Rodriguez after giving up the walk-off last night. We'll break it all down. But first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Giants YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're tuning in, we appreciate it. Make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. And this one, as I said, a 4-2 win for the Giants, and it really did not feel like this was going to happen as this one was progressing. The Giants had so many opportunities with runners in scoring position early in this one, and just kept leaving guys on base left and right. They come up with 2 of their 3 hits with runners in scoring position in the 9th inning. So when they had to have it, they got it, man. And with that, let's get into it. Let's get into today's turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And the turning point, for me, it was that Jung-Hoo Lee double in the top of the 9th inning. You could make a case that the turning point was really in the bottom of the 8th when Ryan Walker was able to wiggle his way out of a little bit of a jam with 2 runners on. In 2 outs, he gets O'Neal Cruz to strike out in a pinch hit situation. So you could identify that as the turning point, but you needed the offense to step up. And Jung-Hoo Lee in the top of the 9th inning with 1 out, doubles to right field, his 27th double of the season, hit that one right on the barrel, 103.4 miles an hour, just a line drive. And it was a changeup that caught a lot of the plate pretty much right down the middle. But Jung-Hoo Lee hitting well. I mean, earlier in the season, this is a pitch he would have swung right through. He would have tried to do too much with it, and you would have seen that big loopy swing just go right on through the strike zone and miss that ball. But he's been making a lot better contact. The bat-to-ball skills have returned for Jung-Hoo Lee, the thing that we have been told is his best ability that we have kind of seen in spurts in his time in the big leagues. But we've also seen him have a lot of strikeout issues in the middle of the season, which we didn't expect him to have. But it's worth noting that over the last 20 games, Jung-Hoo Lee has a .316 batting average. He's got 24 hits, 9 RBI, and 7 runs scored in those 20 games, dating back to the start of the Dodgers series before the break. I mean, it's been a solid last month for Jung-Hoo Lee. He's been very, very good at the dish. Obviously, we know that he's very consistent in the outfield, and I think that this is a big development for the Giants because this is the guy who you went out and got as your primary center fielder a couple of years ago now, but he's been hurt. This is essentially his rookie season for all intents and purposes, and he went through a little bit of a struggle in the middle of the season like most rookies do. But we're seeing Jung-Hoo Lee adapt now, and that's the big thing for me when I'm watching young guys is they'll come in, they'll take the league by storm, and then the league will adapt to them. They'll figure out how to pitch to them. They'll find the holes in your swing. It seems like the league has already went through that with Jung-Hoo Lee, and now Jung-Hoo Lee is adjusting to the league's adjustments that they made to him. Like, he is getting to pitches that he wasn't hitting earlier in the season. He's making much better contact, and he's hitting off-speed stuff pretty well. I mean, this is a big turnaround for Jung-Hoo Lee, and if this guy can be a consistent hitter for the Giants, move back into that leadoff spot, I think that is a huge, massive, massive, massive upgrade for this team. I don't hate Elliot Ramos leading off, but he's a guy with power. I don't necessarily want him hitting with nobody on. You know what I mean? I want Jung-Hoo Lee to set the table. I would like to see Ramos batting 2, Lee 1, Devers 3, Adames 4, Chapman 5, and then at that point you can kind of just shuffle it around after that. Not really too big of a change for the Giants lineup, because Lee is the only one that's really a big difference in that. But I do think that he's starting to regain some of his form as a leadoff hitter. And it might be worth plugging him back into that spot, seeing if he can succeed in that spot after he really hit a wall earlier in this season, which caused him to move down in the order. I do think there is something to a guy being down in the order and taking a little bit of pressure off of him, though. So we'll see if that adjustment is made, and if it is made, how Jung-Hoo Lee will react to it. But he wasn't done, or the Giants weren't done in that inning with just that one double. They got another one in the very next at-bat as Dom Smith steps up in a pinch hit situation and doubles on a line drive to right field. And Dom Smith, man, this guy has been on a freaking roll, man. I mean, since the All-Star break, every game that he's played in, he's got a hit. He's got an 11-game hit streak going. Dom Smith, the replacement for Lamont Wade Jr., the midseason replacement, I mean, it almost never works. When you go out and you pick a guy off the scrap heap, you dip into someone else's farm system, and you get a journeyman, a guy who's been around for a while. It rarely works in Major League Baseball. Like, that guy might have a moment or two or be like an okay backup, but you were reaching, if you're the Giants, you were reaching for an everyday first baseman in the Yankees farm system. I mean, Dom Smith is a guy who's been around for the last few years, and we kind of know what he is. The book is out on him as a kind of an average hitter with a little bit less power than you would expect him to have when you look at his body size. But he is a guy who's, in my opinion, shown a lot on the defensive end. His glove has been very, very, very solid. You saw him make a nice diving stop in this one in the ninth to help secure this win. And you also saw the effectiveness with the bat. He gave you his 7th double of the season to score the go-ahead run, to score Jung-Hoo Lee and give the Giants a 3-2 lead. And then Pat Bailey, who has been having a better second half than he did the first half of the season, comes up with a single on a ground ball and drives in another run. Dom Smith is able to score from second on that little ground ball single, that seeing eye single by Pat Bailey in a pinch hit situation for him as well. Pinch hit earlier in the game, but Pat Bailey 2 for 2 tonight. Pretty solid day from Patty Barrels. I mean, he changed up the headband today. No more George Washington crossing the Delaware. So maybe the headband switch is what did it for Pat Bailey. But hey, the Giants win 4-2. It's nice to be able to win back-to-back series. It's the first time that the Giants have done this since they beat the Phillies back in the very, very, very beginning of July. It has been a long time since the Giants were able to win back-to-back series. They played the A's before playing the Phillies, and they won both of those series in early July. So it's been about a month since the Giants have been able to string some success together, and that's all good stuff. But there was one thing from today's game that was kind of a bummer for me, and I think that's what you're going to be talking about after this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
In what I think is going to be a topic of concern for Giants fans, Gerard Encarnacion. This guy comes out, and for the longest stretch of today's game, this was the only run the Giants had. Encarnacion came out and smashed a massive solo home run. He crushed it in that 5th inning. I mean, that ball might still be flying. I mean, he hit that thing a mile, 442 feet, 111.4 off the bat. Back-to-back days with home runs for Encarnacion. Came off the injury list on Monday. So you're thinking, when you see that ball fly, you're like, oh man, this is what we've been missing this whole season long. If you have this guy in the order, maybe the Giants offense looks a little bit different, has a little bit more pop, and might be a little bit better than we've seen to this point in the season. But later in the game, man, this guy just cannot stay off the injury list. He pulls a hammy, or at least it looked like to me that he pulled a hammy, run into first base. And this is a guy who just came off the injury list after spending 40 games on it due to an oblique strain. This guy was injured to start the season because he had that fracture in his hand. I mean, this guy seems to always be hurt, and maybe that's just kind of who he is. I mean, I developed that tag as a high school athlete, or even younger than that, when I constantly was sustaining injuries as a younger kid, and I was just labeled as that. And I feel like I was never really able to find my rhythm because of such. And Gerard Encarnacion maybe this guy's going to be plagued with the same issues that Triple E was plagued with in his high school playing career. But Encarnacion, obviously, much bigger deal for him to have these injury problems than me. But this guy, if he could just stay healthy, it would be so good to see him have a month of consistent playing time. But it just does not seem like he has the body to do that. I mean, it's been consistently inconsistent with Encarnacion as far as his health goes. I would really love to see this guy get healthy and have a month or two of solid, consistent playing time and see what he can do, because we still haven't seen that. He's been on the team for over a whole year now, and we still have yet to have an opportunity to see him get any real consistent playing time because of injuries, because of, just kind of like roster situations and things like that. But this is a guy who I think you absolutely need to know what you have in Gerard Encarnacion going into next year, because if this is a guy that you can depend on even a little bit for his bat in the middle of the order, maybe you don't need to go and find another right fielder. But again, you're going to have to figure that out. Now, I saw in the chat, someone was asking, there it is, Bob, my guy Bob, saying, what do you think of McRae? And in the beginning of the season, I was pretty vocal about how I wanted Grant McRae more than I wanted Luis Matos. I think that this guy, when he had some consistent playing time last season, we saw that he had some extra pop that we didn't really think he would have at the big league level. He showed some ability to steal some bases, and he made some phenomenal plays out in the outfield. And I feel like having a good outfielder in right field is really important for a team like the Giants, with that wide open chasm in right center field and with the wall at Oracle Park. You got to be able to play the ball well off that wall, and you got to be able to play that gap well. And if you have Jung Hoo Lee and Grant McRae as your center fielder and your right fielder, not too many balls are going to drop out there. Now, obviously, McRae needs to get better at the dish. He needs to get more consistent. He needs to stop striking out so much. There's a lot of things that he needs to improve on in the offensive aspect of his game. However, I do think that all is possible. I think that we've seen flashes from him of what his offense could be, and I'd like to see him get some more playing time. It's going to be hard for the rest of the season to get enough playing time for all of these different guys, for Gerard Encarnacion, for a Grant McRae and Luis Matos and all these other Christian Koss, Casey Schmidt. We want to see all these guys and see what they got, what the Giants got in their young group of players. And maybe some of these guys will stick. Tyler Fitzgerald, another one that comes to mind, who we haven't seen in a while with the big league squad. But I really want to see what happens with this team going forward, what happens with these young players going forward, because that's really all the rest of the season is about. Don't let the Giants get one game over 500 get you too excited. I would love to sit here and be like, the Giants are back-to-back series wins. Pump the brakes, calm down. This team still probably isn't going to make the playoffs. They're still probably going to finish around 500. But hey, they got a little bit of momentum headed back home, so that's a positive. We'll take that. And we also got to talk about Robbie Ray's very positive day on the mound today. We'll break that down next on the Locked On Giants postcast. Today's show is sponsored by Gameday Hue. And I love Gameday Hue, man. And for fans like me, their hats are so perfect. I wish I had one to show you guys right now, but I mean, they make these clean, no logo hats with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the golf course, or anywhere in between. And I mean, it goes with basically any fit. I mean, the clean, just color, no logo style of their hats, it never clashes with anything. I mean, unless you're, just colorblind and throwing colors together that don't work, but they're great. They fit with everything. They look really, really clean and sleek, and it's a great look, man. Go with every single outfit you could possibly put together. And right now you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com. Code MLB15. And today's show is also sponsored by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. And the Monarch gives you all sorts of surprising insights. Every time that I look into Monarch, I'm surprised by seeing something new. This month, I realized how much money I had spent on softball equipment, man. Slow pitch softball equipment. I went a little crazy, getting a new bat, getting a new glove, getting a new bag. And so all those insights kind of helped me realize, no spending this next month. We gotta rein it in, get back on track. And I wouldn't have that ease of understanding with my finances if it wasn't for Monarch. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants come back and win against the Pirates. They take the lead in the ninth inning with 2 RBI hits, one by Dom Smith in a pinch hit situation, and one by Pat Bailey, who came in earlier in the game to pinch hit. So 2 guys who didn't start today coming up with the biggest hits for the Giants in this entire game. Jung-Hoo Lee set the table with a double, but we would not have gotten there at all if Robbie Ray did not eat those 6 innings and pitch as well as he did, man. Only gave up 2 runs, 6 hits. So he did have runners on base pretty much all game long, but he did a good job of navigating it. And that's the Robbie Ray experience this year so far, man. Not a lot of walks, only 2 walks today. And that's the difference for me normally in what I see in Ray. If he was walking a lot of guys, it's a little bit of a subpar start for Robbie. If he's not walking guys, he's usually locked in. And today he looked locked in, man. 8 strikeouts, that ERA sitting at 2.85 for the season. And I've said this a lot, man. I keep waiting for Robbie Ray to kind of peter out in the second half. This guy has not pitched a full season post Tommy John, and he's shown that he's starting to give up home runs again in the second half of the season. He went almost or a little bit more than a whole month. The entire month of May, he did not give up a single home run, and he only gave up 3 in the entire month of April. So starting out this season, Robbie Ray was very good at limiting home runs. Then in June, he gave up 5. And then last month, he gave up 5 as well. So those home run numbers starting to tick up just a little bit. But today, I did not see Robbie Ray missing up too much with that fastball. And when he did go up in the location with that fastball, he was able to put it over the opposing batter's hands and get that strikeout. He was using it as a strikeout pitch. And he was using it as his primary pitch, obviously, as well, because that's usually what Robbie Ray does. 52 of his pitches today were fastballs. That's 50% of what he threw. He also threw 18 sliders, 17 changeups, and 17 knuckle curves. So when he was using off-speed pitches, he was doing a good job of mixing and matching those. But ultimately, that fastball was pretty damn dominant today. It looked very, very good. That velo down just a little bit, about a half mile an hour from his yearly average. But at this point in the season, it's not too big of a concern for me. I don't expect Robbie Ray to continue to be able to throw as hard as he was early in the season, later in the season, obviously on that surgically repaired elbow. But ultimately, this is surprising for me, man. I was vocal about wanting the Giants to trade Robbie Ray at the deadline. I did not think that his value would be any higher than it was at that point. And I definitely don't think he's going to be able to duplicate this next year for the Giants. So keeping him didn't make a lot of sense to me. But hey, if he's going to stay here, I would like to see him continue to pitch as well as he was in the first half. And if the Giants can get that from him, then maybe it was the right decision to keep the guy. I'm still not entirely convinced that he's going to hold up until the end of the season. I'm not entirely convinced he's going to get through the month of August and the month of September without his arm just falling off of his body. He's an aging veteran, and he's got a lot of wear and tear on that arm and a lot of miles on that body. But hey, as long as he's able to do what he's doing out there in those tight pants, man, I'm stoked that Robbie Ray is still a Giant as long as he's still pitching like this. So I will be willing to wear that L for the wrong take if he works out with the Giants next year as well. If he's able to duplicate this, that would just be absolutely amazing to me. But I'm still not convinced that he can. I'm going to need to continue to see more from Robbie Ray until I see him pitch the full season post Tommy John. I don't think that you're going to be able to convince me that he can actually do that, because many players, pitchers who are better than Robbie Ray have not been able to bounce back from this. So we'll see what happens. But ultimately, Robbie Ray has been very, very, very consistent for the Giants. He's got the lowest ERA of anyone on the team, of any starter on the team. And again, another very solid day for him, just business as usual for Robbie Ray. One thing we did not mention today, the Chapman sack fly, my guy Jerry, one of our everydayers, that Chappie sack fly was big, says Jerry, and yeah, it was, but I did want a little bit more in that situation. You had the bases loaded and only one out in the top of the 8th inning, and Matt Chapman hit that one on the screws, man, 100 miles an hour, 363 feet, but Tommy Pham made a nice running catch in the gap. It was a sack fly. It tied up the game. And then Casey Schmidt almost hit one out, got warning track power on that one in the next at bat. Almost a 3-run bomb for Casey, but just shy of getting that. So the Giants end up picking those guys up in the 9th inning. I did want a little bit more in that 8th, but that Chappie sack fly was absolutely clutch for the Giants in that situation. And I see my guy Nick saying the Chapman should have walked in that situation. Absolutely, man. He definitely battled that at bat out. And you had some questionable strikes called in that at bat, and Chapman just swinging at stuff that's out of the zone. Also, I mean, I don't know. Chapman, he's kind of like that, man. He doesn't have the best hitter's eye. Like, he'll take a lot of strike threes and he'll swing at a lot of pitches that are just out of the zone. He's not. He doesn't have that perfect batter's eye that a lot of the sluggers in today's game look for, or you look for in a lot of sluggers in today's game. But there's a lot that he does well to kind of make up for that. Obviously, his bat to ball skills are very good. He swings so hard, so incredibly hard every time he takes a cut. You know what they say, you swing hard in case you hit it. And that's what Matt Chapman's philosophy seems to be at the plate. So a big sack fly for Matt Chapman in that situation did leave me wanting a little more though. So either way, the Giants pick up the 4-2 win. They go back to San Francisco, riding a 2 consecutive series wins, and you got the Nationals next. So you got a chance here to pick things up for the Giants. And with that, I should also mention, I know we took last weekend off, but you saw what happened when we took last weekend off. It turned the Giants' entire outlook around. They've won 2 series in a row since we took last weekend off. We're going to try the same thing again this weekend. We're not going to be doing shows for the National Series. I will be out at Outside Lands. It is about 2 blocks away from my house. There's no way I can just forego a music festival like that I can walk to from my home. No possible way I can miss out on that. So I'll be hitting Outside Lands all 3 days this weekend here in San Francisco. I'll give you guys a brief little update of how that goes on Monday when the Giants are back at it and when we are back at it again on the Locked On Giants postcast. If any of you are out there, I know my guy Dom Peralta, one of our everydayers, we tried to link up at Dead & Company. Dom, anybody else, if you guys are going to be out there at Outside Lands, you see a long-haired, hippie-looking guy running around with a crazy beard, that's me. Say hi, say what's up. We'll connect. Love seeing people out there in the wild that are fans of the show, all you everydayers. It's not a show without you guys. So appreciate all of you for tuning in, and we'll be back at it on Monday. So thanks for tuning in. That's all the time we got for you guys today. We'll see you next time. Peace.